Hello and welcome to a new episode of the CTO Show with Mehmet. My name is Mehmet. I share daily insights about the latest news and trends in technology while exploring their problem-solving abilities. I also talk about startups and the entrepreneurs behind their innovative products and services. Today, I'm going to talk about the growing threat of ransomware attacks and how small and medium-sized businesses, SMEs, and startups can protect themselves. I will be sharing two recent stories of ransomware attacks that happened over the weekend and what are the consequences of these attacks for small, medium businesses and startups, as well what can be done to prevent and reduce the risks of such incidents. First, the Dole Food Company was hit by a ransomware attack at the end of last week. The Dole Food Company, which is a major global producer for vegetables and fruits, they fell victim to the attack and it resulted in a theft of sensitive data. The attackers demanded a large sum of money in exchange for the safe return of the data, and despite Dole's effort to negotiate and mitigate the impact of the attack, it's still unclear whether the data has been safely returned, leaving Dole and its customers at risk. Before I tell you about the second story, one side note here is that such a company, for sure, they deal with a lot of contractors, they have a lot of supply chain. So although they might have been using the proper technology, the supply chain played, in my opinion, a big role in having this attack, because such a huge company that distribute worldwide, I'm sure they have taken all the required measurements. But of course, the coming days will show us what the investigation results will be. The second story was from Dish Network Services, who went offline following a cyber attack in another recent incident. The Dish Network, it's a major US satellite TV provider, suffered a suspected cyber attack that caused many of its services to go offline, including their websites and their mobile apps. While the full extent of this attack is still being investigated, the incident underscores the potential for cyber attacks to disrupt critical infrastructure and cause widespread disruption. Why I shared these two stories? So both companies are very well known, they are big companies, and I wanted to relate this to small, medium businesses and startups. Consequences can be really unexpected because these stories illustrate the serious and growing threat that ransomware attack and other cyber attacks can pose to businesses at all sizes and at all types. But SMEs and startups are often seen as easy targets by attackers who know they are less likely to have robust cybersecurity measures in place, and the consequences can be severe. What can be these consequences? Financial loss due to the payment of the ransom, lost revenue, disrupted operations, reputational damage as customers will lose trust and seek other vendors, legal and regulatory fines for failing to protect sensitive data or comply with cybersecurity regulations, and employees' moral and productivity issues as they deal with the fallout of a cyber attack. Even more, and I have seen it once, the business can go bankrupt because they would lose all their customer data, they would lose all their systems, and they cannot come back. So protecting SMEs and startups from ransomware attacks can be done in a different approach, I would say. So one approach is to implement a multi-layered defense system that include basic security measures like strong passwords, multi-factor authentication, regular software updates, and employee training. It's also important to have some business continuity plans and disaster recovery plans in place so that critical data can be restored in the event of an attack. However, Many of these SMEs and startups may not have the expertise or resources to implement and maintain such a defensive system. This is where consultative approach can help. So working with cybersecurity experts and business continuity experts can help SMEs and startups to develop a customized defense plan that meets their specific needs and budgets. This can include risk assessments, employee training, and the implementation of affordable security tools like firewalls, EDRs, and so on. In conclusion, I think this topic should be more enlightened because we're living in a world where every day, every 11 seconds to be more precise, there is a cyber attack, a ransomware attack, and it's more important than any time before to stand by these SMBs and startups because they are trying to get their hands on growing the business. They want to stand and help the economy. So it's very important to take care of this segment of the market. I hope you find today's episode helpful and it helps to raise the awareness about the growing threat of ransomware and different cyber attacks types, and especially how we can protect SMEs and startups in a special tough economical situations like the ones we are in. So, as usual, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'm always looking forward to have your feedback. If you want to ask any question, you want to have any opinion, I would be more than happy to discuss that. You can reach me by email, on LinkedIn or Twitter. And by the way, if you want to be also a guest on my podcast, I would be more than happy to discuss cybersecurity topics and other topics that I usually discuss, whether it's AI, no code, entrepreneurship. So I would be looking forward to hear from you. Thank you very much for joining this episode today, and until we meet next time, bye-bye.